It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. Listen, I am super duper excited about tonight because we are having our first episode of Monroe County Uncovered. It's time for Monroe County to be uncovered. Listen, I am so excited. I know a lot of you are from Monroe that are watching tonight, and I want to say thank you so much. Thank you guys for always being supportive to the Ella Johnson Show. I just need you to do me a favor and share this broadcast. We need everyone to watch this broadcast tonight. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you. Thank you for those of you who have already subscribed. But if you're watching from YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time to do it. You're already there. So I just want to welcome you all to the Ella Johnson Show tonight. We're going to have a great broadcast, a great conversation. And I just want to welcome you to Monroe County Uncovered. Now, tonight, we aren't just skimming the surface. I mean, you guys probably figured that. We're stripping it away. You followed this journey with me from the unsettling questions surrounding Johnny D. A lot of you were there for that. The Bethel community, a lot of you were there for that. The hidden realities of the T. Tunstall narrative, we're still doing that. We've spent months pulling at the threads of institutional silence, demanding the accountability this country has long avoided, and this county, right? But tonight we go deeper, all right? Enough of the surface stuff. We are turning our lens to the story of Dr. Barbarietta Turner-Pugh. Many would prefer this story stay buried, right? We don't want to hear about it. Just let it go, move on. But in this series, we don't do convenient. Sorry. We do truth. All right. We do the truth. So I want you guys to get ready for that. But I want to introduce you to this woman because behind every headline, every anonymous letter, and every legal filing, there's a person, a career built on years of service, dedication to education, and a commitment. That's right. A commitment to the community of Monroe County. Now, with us tonight, Dr. Barbarietta Turner-Pugh has spent a significant portion of her life in the halls of academia, shaping the futures of the next generation. Y'all know it. You got to give it up. And navigating the complex landscape of our county's administration. Now, for many, she has been a mentor, a leader, and a standard bearer for what it means to serve with purpose. That's something we should all strive to do. Now, tonight, we aren't here to tear down that legacy. We're here to bring it into the light. When a career is marked by such high stakes scrutiny, it is our duty, mine and yours, to peel back the layers of rumor and institutional noise to find the actual story. Isn't that what it's all about? That's what we're here tonight for. Because when we stand for accountability, we stand for the integrity of every leader who has dedicated their life to the work. You're right. Dr. Barbarietta Turner-Pugh's story is a chapter in the history of Monroe County that demands to be understood accurately, fairly, and completely. Now, I want to share with you guys some of her accomplishments because it's just so much, right? Those of you that know her, you know she has a long history. So I want to share with you, those of you that are watching, because I want you to think about I want you to forget about everything you've seen in the headlines. I want you to forget about what you've seen in the journal, what you've heard on the corners, what you've talked about, because tonight you have Dr. Turner-Pugh right here with us. All right. But I want to first let you know she was the director of student services at Monroe County Board of Education. Right. She was there from July 2014 until just days ago when she was terminated. She is a Region A school safety coordinator, overseeing 10 schools, guys. This is what she was doing. And I know she can tell it a lot better than I can, because we're not dealing with chicken scratch here tonight. We're dealing with someone who's accomplished, who has done so much and made such a difference in Monroe County. But I just want to welcome you to the Ella Johnson Show, Dr. Pugh. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for agreeing to be here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so excited. You look so young. And I just, you do. I feel like I really do. You look like you're still at high school sitting over there. But I just want to thank you so much for taking time out, because I want you to tell everybody, is it okay for me to call you Barbarietta tonight?
Sure.
Okay. I want you to tell everybody why you thought this right here was necessary.
Ella, I love Monroe County. I could have went anywhere. I was offered other positions. I came home. I worked tirelessly. I went back to my school where I graduated from, Monroe County High School. I love my students. I loved their accomplishments. Then I became a school counselor. And I had a new group of students at the middle school that I loved. And I fell in love with them. And then I was afforded the opportunity by Dr. Kathy Murphy to go to Monroe to the Central Office for Student Services. And, a lot of people felt like I got that position because of my mom. So I want to clear something up. They can feel however they want to feel. But I still feel like I got that merits on my own. And not only did I get it, but I worked my behind off. So when I went to, you got to realize I was a teacher, a counselor. All those deal with students. There was no other position I wanted at Central Office other than one or two. And the one was Director of Student Services. And I worked hard for students. We started that department. When I went in that department, the only thing they focused on was school safety and athletics. And with a short time, we took that from putting in mental health counselors in every school. I wrote grants for the system. During COVID, it was nobody, it was my department to make sure that every student in Monroe County and the teachers were safe.
Right.
I made sure that I wanted not just certain schools to have an opportunity. I wanted all the students to have that same opportunity. So when I sat in that office, contrary to belief, I didn't deal with teachers. I dealt with students. When there were issues in the classroom, my department, we went from talking about just to serving 10 school districts. I was afforded the opportunity to work at the State Department, and not only with Monroe County, but to serve over 10 school districts in the state of Alabama for school safety, to make sure they were safe. During my tenure, we put cameras in every classroom to ensure student safety. We revamped the whole safety security for students in the county. Access doors. We had to check in, check out. You had to sign in. Those were things we never had in our county. We had a school in Lower Peachtree that if something happened, nobody could get to them in enough time. So we had a camera system in my office where I could watch it on my phone. So if something happened, we made sure that we could get their resource officers. When has Monroe County ever had resource officers?
I don't remember it ever.
Not only that, but it got to the point that you're talking about putting mental health counselors for every school where our students had people to talk to, peer mentoring, dual enrollment. We never had dual enrollment. They fought dual enrollment till I started writing grants. And then we were able to pay for students in Monroe County for my department to go to college while they were still in high school.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, but not only that, there was also times when things were done or said against students and their parents brought them to my office. I was able to step in and be a voice for the students. When there were students they were trying to expel or send off to the alternative school or just write off, I was able to step in and help those parents with those kids. And that might be another reason. I might have caught backlash from that, from the powers to be.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned all of that, because honestly, I want to get into some of that. Not right now, but I want to get into some of that because I've had, ever since I announced that we were going to do this show, obviously I've been getting oh, well, she's this and she's that. I'm not going to get into all of that, not really, because I don't want to downplay your legacy and what you've
That's
accomplished.
fine. I'm okay.
Yeah,
I dealt with that for 4 years, um, hearing what people had to say. Um, and it's okay. It's okay because I still have to remember, and I thank God for this every day. I didn't get in, I told somebody one time when I was teaching at County High, a teacher was real upset with me. We were in a faculty meeting, and I won't call her name, and she said, I don't understand. They go to Dr. Pugh class, and she lets them, she don't say anything about what they wearing, their clothes. And I made the comment to her when I went to get when I was going to get my teaching degree, I didn't know I was going to school to be the fashion police. I didn't think I was there to criticize children for what they wore to school. I was there to educate their minds.
okay.
Um, was I a tough teacher? Yeah, but I love my students because I knew what this world had to offer, and I felt like when I taught the best. But
So
I also,
sometimes being tough comes across as difficult to work with. What do you have to say about that?
I think so too because there were instances where some people are more interested in let's go and camping together, let's all sit around here and enjoy the fruits of labor. But the problem is we're on taxpayers' money. And I used to
That's right.
always tell people our clientele are the students. So if they felt like I was tough, then I'll be the first right now to apologize. If anyone felt like I did anything out of the way, I will sincerely apologize now because at the end of the day, my only goal was for the
That's
student.
right.
Um,
Amen.
and by me being able to go see different things at other school systems, I wanted to bring that back to Monroe County because there's nowhere that our kids couldn't have the same opportunities. They don't have to just this. There's more to than just Monroe County for our children.
That's right.
And so, if people think that when I walked in a building that I expected or something, I expected to see teaching. I expected to see students learning.
Right.
I expected for us to give our students the same thing you would want for somebody to give your child.
So here's the thing, and this is the elephant in the room. There was an article that just came out in the Monroe Journal. That's kind of what started because you and I had already been talking about doing this, but when that article came out, you were like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's go. And it was the termination from your employment with the school board. Give me your initial reaction because we're going to start there and then we're going to go back, guys. We're getting to it, but I want to know how you felt. I mean, sincerely, how did you feel when you saw that article in the paper?
It was another emotional hit for me. Because my thing is, how much more are you people gonna continue to try to do to me? How much are y'all gonna continue to try to destroy me? Um, what is it gonna take? Like you've done everything that you could possibly do. You made everybody not talk to me. You made it to the point where you made people. I don't know if you made them afraid to talk to me or to the point where they were embarrassed to talk. I don't know what it was, but it was like this is just one more kick in the gut. One more kick in the gut. And the point is that termination was illegal. At the end of the day, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, that termination was illegal.
Okay.
But they're
We
writing
definitely,
their version. That's the problem. Everybody's
yeah.
writing their version of the story and not knowing how this second termination came about after it was overturned the first time.
That's right, guys, because I know that there's some stuff that you guys don't know, and we're going to bring it up. Now, how this all began, September. Let's go all the way back to 2022. All right. I know that's some years back. September 2022, you learned of an anonymous letter that was written about you. And apparently it was from J.F. Shields. How did you learn about this letter?
Well, actually, I learned about that letter in October the 6th or 8th.
Okay.
And what happened was actually received a call, not from Monroe County Superintendent. I received a call from my employee at the State Department. I was on the road coming back from a school system in Baldwin County, and she asked me, she said, "Hey, what's going on in Monroe County?" And I said, "What you mean? What's wrong?" She said, "We all just gotten a letter up here." And she said, "I know it's nothing to it." She said, "But it's serious. We got to see what's going on. She said, I've already told them that I know for a fact this is nothing serious. So I called my superintendent at the time. He didn't call me. I called him because I didn't even know what was going on. And I asked him, I said, hey, I just got a call. And he said, oh, yeah, we'll talk about it later. I said, no, we got to talk about it today because if there's something someone said about me, I need to know. I need to clear it up. And he said, no, we'll talk about it later. So I immediately left Baldwin County, came straight back to Monroe County, waited for the superintendent to get in the office. And I said, hey, what's going on? He pulls this letter out and he says, I said, oh, hold up, I can clear out whatever this is. I can clear it up. I can bring you documents, whatever you need. This is not true. He still kept saying, well, no, we'll worry about dealing with it later. So no, I went to my office. I pulled anything that they tried to say. I brought it back to him. And at that point, I thought it was over with. I really did. It was an anonymous letter. And reason I'm going to tell you why I thought it was over with. We're going to talk about that because when you play a video clip that I played this week, it's going to tie into that anonymous letter. But reason I thought it was over because before he came in, we had a superintendent that I worked under, Dr. Jeffers. He was interim. And Dr. Jeffers, I never forget, he received some anonymous letters on some teachers about putting their kids in the wrong school district, wrong school. They were out of whatever district. And so he brought me in and he said, I wasn't a doctor then. He said, Miss Turner, he said, I know you're aspiring to be a superintendent one day. And I said, yes, sir. He said, so I just received this letter. How would you handle this? And I said, well, I don't know who to contact. He said, exactly, it's anonymous. He said, so when you receive an anonymous letter, I'm going to show you what you do with them. And he put it in the trash. He said, because as a superintendent or any employee, if an individual does not have the credibility to come to you themselves and make themselves known, then we don't fool with anonymous letters. I don't go after staffs, children, and teachers based off anonymous letters. So technically, I just assumed this, and then I thought it was over with. I didn't think any more about it. I did not. He didn't say anything he was going to do with it. Like I said, I've already had received calls from the State Department. I figured it was over with.
So let's address some of the stuff that's in this letter. Now, one thing I will say, Barbarietta, after reading this, it's definitely someone. Let me ask you this question before we get into that. Do you know who wrote this?
No, I don't. Do I have ideas? I have ideas. Yes, I won't say it because then that can set me up for a lawsuit. But and put it like this: I was told by some individuals who wrote it.
Okay. I think that was being very cowardly that they didn't come forward with this. And because I personally, honestly, I don't know did they investigate this person that brought this letter? How do we know they are credible? How do we know that they're the one that actually wrote it? I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's so many questions surrounding this, but let's talk about some of the stuff in here. They're accusing you of, they allowed you to govern large amounts of federal funds without oversight, meaning nobody's watching you. You're doing whatever you want to do with the money. That you're directly responsible for more than $35,000 being paid to your daughter's boyfriend, as well as his LLC. So that's some of the stuff on this page. They're saying here that the tactics that you're using, you got a sorority sister that you've been giving money to.
Can we talk about that?
Sure. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Let's go to that one right there. Let's go to the Kimberly Taylor.
Okay.
So for the people that's online from Monroe County, if anybody, see, this is where you know this letter is false. They said that Kimberly Taylor, Turner-Pugh sorority sister, payments are also suspicious. Kimberly Taylor is a white teacher from Excel High School. I have no dealings with Kimberly Taylor. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they're making some accusations here about there's no fiscal accountability as it relates to the funds afforded our children. It appears as if you're working in cahoots with her. Are you? Like, this letter is all over the place. Then they go into here and they want them to review the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics, So glad she said that because we're going to get into the ethics in a second. But they're questioning because this letter went to the superintendent, all the board members, and state officials.
And can
Correct?
we go down to the bottom about the Tom Bitby, the playground equipment?
Okay.
They received a grant application for Derek Pugh to fund a playground, and they said that there was no equipment, right?
There we go.
But there's
Yeah.
no playground. So when that came out, and they called Mr. Pugh told them there is playground equipment. The playground equipment was actually, and he sent them emails showing where he had received the playground equipment, contacted the former maintenance director, Paul Dean, on several occasions to come and have his crew to put the equipment up, and they never came. So when the former superintendent and the current superintendent went up to JF Shields, they found the playground equipment in the storage unit where it was locked up for safekeeping until someone from central office maintenance department could come and put it up.
Wow. Now, this is the part because you and I were talking about this. I said, let's look at the envelope.
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the envelope? Tell everybody what we're looking at right here, Barbarietta.
With the actual letter and how I got a copy of the envelope, because when you look at the letter, this letter was sent to everyone except for my mother, who is a board member. So that spoke volumes by itself. So the only way I was able to get a copy is you see the individual name on there, the former superintendent. He gave me his copy of the envelope. Well, no, he gave me his envelope and a copy of the letter that was in it.
Now, what else did we find interesting about this envelope? Where was it sent from?
This envelope miraculously was sent from Jackson, Alabama. And the other thing that was miraculously about it, this letter, let's talk about this letter. This letter was written on September the 28th. What's ironic, and it's just go back and show it, you'll see the date. Can you see the date on there for that letter? Did you put that up there?
No, it's cut off. I cut the date off.
So September 28th is important because that is the day that I met with the former superintendent and I met with the former superintendent, Mr. Sheehan, and the former principal at Shields, Ms. Sophia Yarber, about the possibility of not continuing the 21st century JF Shields for the last year because we didn't meet the number of students that was required by the federal program. We were told by the internal evaluator, who had to have come in from the State Department, so let's go back to that. Let's talk about that real quick. I wrote a grant for $600,000 and got it for a 21st century program at JF Shields. And we'll talk about that in a minute. However, this is where this come in at. I met with them on September 28th because the external evaluator told us we gave you all a waiver for 2 years during COVID to not be able to meet the quota. However, this third year, you're going to have the number of students that's written in the grant. So when anybody that knows how federal programs work is that if you got federal money, you have to follow the parameters of the grant or you will be held in contempt and you will have to pay that money back.
Absolutely.
So I had Ms. Yarber to please send out something to the teachers and the students and parents. She sent me an email back saying, I can pull the email if we need to take a break, saying that she only could get 40-something students. Well, the grant was written for 150. So at that point, I met with her and Mr. Sheehan and said, guys, we are going to probably have to close this program this year and return the funds that we had for this year because we don't have the number of students to fulfill the program. Showed them what the external evaluator wrote up in her notes. Miraculously, this letter, Mr. Sheehan received this letter. I think the date on there is October the 6th or the 8th. But when they wrote this letter, I'm not can say who wrote it, but this letter was dated September 28th. Somebody wrote this letter right after we had that conversation in the office.
And the video is going to be so ironic. So I want y'all to put a pin right here and remember, it's very, very important. So we're gonna move on to the next thing here that we have. So what comes next, guys? Now there's a letter from the board's attorney. Okay, let's talk about this now, Barbarietta. The board has received a copy of this anonymous letter. Can you explain to our viewers what the board felt about this letter. It's right here.
Well, I can't say what the board felt, but I can say that Mr. Sheehan turned over a copy of the letter to the board's attorney. And the board attorney wrote back and said, this anonymous letter does not justify placing any employee of the board on administrative leave or detached duty. The authors of the letter chose not to reveal themselves. If they are unwilling to put their names on the letter, we should have corresponding questions about the veracity of the letter. To place someone on administrative leave or detached duty based on an anonymous letter removes your discretion in the administration of the Board of Education and places it in the hands of anonymous letter writers. Further, the letter does not include specific evidence of a crime. There is no allegation that any employee personally benefited from the payment of government funds, but only that the anonymous letter writer believes is suspicious. Further, the anonymous letter writer goes to great lengths to demonstrate that the individuals know each other or may have a relationships with each other. Yet, these relationships do not establish a violation of Alabama law.
So, now let's unwrap that. So basically what you're saying then, Barbarietta, is that they also gave this packet of information to the board's attorney.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is someone that's supposed to look out for you guys, make sure you're meeting all the standards of Alabama law, I guess.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
He looked at their evidence and said, there's nothing here. What are you guys doing? If the person can't come forward, why are we entertaining this? Anybody could have really wrote this letter. Like, we're going to do this. But guess what? It didn't stop here, did it, Barbarietta?
No, ma'am.
Next, administrative leave. This is where this letter comes into play. Now, talk to us around what happened when you received this letter from Mr. Sheehan, because this is your letter saying that you're going to be on administrative leave. Let's talk about this.
Let's talk back before that.
Okay.
So once I received the letter, Mr. Sheehan said, hey, there's nothing to it, which I knew it wasn't. There was between that letter and November 10th, we had auditors just periodically popping up in the central office, questioning me, wanting to look at records, and I had no problem. I showed them every record, showed them everything that they asked for. They asked for contracts, they asked for timesheets. I showed them everything that they wanted. Three, even the head of the state auditor came in. She told them, there's no findings. Everything she has done, everything that she is supposed to have done correctly. Okay. Then I had a lady come down. We were getting ready. See, everybody doesn't know what was leading up to this point. At this point, I was in the process of writing a $7.5 million grant. We had just getting ready to get approved for a $7.5 million grant from the Federal Education Department in Washington. We were building a mental health campus in Monroe County. So that, and I will give you that documents, because actually the lady that was helping me write that grant, and I can give that to you for the next show. You're going to see, because she was from the State Department, she sent Mr. Sheehan and the board a letter saying, because my interest in children, which was her interest, is greater than your interest in children, I'm pulling away from this grant. And the reason why, she was in my office one day working on this grant, and throughout that whole day, there were three board members who were in and out of the superintendent office. And next thing I know, I wasn't there. She was there working with my assistant. Once again, I'm on the road, making sure children are safe. I get a call. I got to get back to the office. And so when I got there, I was like, what's going on? She's like, I'm finished. I'm through. I'm finished. She said, because they don't want this. I said, what happened? He asked her, the board, this is his words. The board says that if you get this, do we have to use it? She said, are you telling me that your board is going to turn down in Monroe County a $7.5 million grant to build a mental health school for students in Monroe County? I got on the, by that time he had left. I got on the phone. I called Mr. Sheehan. I was crying. I said, Mr. Sheehan, what did I do wrong? I'm sorry. If I did something wrong, I'm sorry. I don't have to do it. His words to me was, no, ma'am, I've got you. These board members, I don't understand what's going on. So once again, I didn't know. We were still thinking. And then at this point, I asked her, I said, please, let's just do this. Can we please do this? She said, yeah. She said, but they have got to understand that this is, everybody just can't go to Washington and get a $7.5 million grant. So, and it was for the kids. It was for our children. We were going to have to now, we were going to be the first to have a mental health facility on our campus. And let's talk about those social workers. I actually took them, they had to do a training. And they were at dinner with Baldwin County with the head of their student service director. At that time, they didn't have social workers in their system. This gentleman actually he offered my social workers, because I say they were mine, my ladies. They offered the social workers and the mental health nurse, he offered them an extreme salary to come to Baldwin County. That's how much innovative we were above Baldwin County at that point.
Wow.
So when we talked, I think we got back, we were talking, I think I kind of got off track, but I was saying that's just the thing. So in addition to that, I had a gentleman. I didn't put him in my office. They put him in my office, and we started working together real well. Mm-hmm. This gentleman had been in my office already for 3 years. 3 years, Ella. All of a sudden, Mr. Sheehan comes in the office saying, hey, there's nowhere I can put you, can I? And I won't call the gentleman's name. And he said, sir, I'm getting hassled by some board members. They want you out of this office.
Oh.
He said, huh? We didn't know. He said, don't worry. I told him I don't have nowhere to put you. So we went into his office because we knew we had cameras in mind. We'll talk about the camera system I had in my office. And I said, Mr. Sheehan, what's going on? I said, what is really going on? I'm going to say this without saying it. I called one name, the black male board member. I said, did he have anything? He said, no, it wasn't him. He said, he called the other name. It was the black female board member who's actually the chair of the board right now, but it wasn't my mother. So it was the other one. And this is from Greg Sheehan, who says that she wants him out your office. I don't know what's going on. What's her issue with you and your family? And I said, well, Miss Sheehan, I don't know. I said, we're here for the kids. So let's not worry about that. I love her and she loves us. And next thing I know, I get a letter.
Okay. So I appreciate you giving us. So it sounds like you're telling me that this is personal.
I don't know. All I know is that on November the 10th, this is how the letter came about. We were at the board meeting because my mom and Miss Kidd were supposed to be getting sworn in that night, but it got taken over to December. That same night, Mr. Sheehan was up for a raise. And he didn't get that raise that night. My mom was the lone holder out. She recommended that they wait. Next thing I know, I was not on the agenda. There was nothing about me on the agenda. Next thing I know, when the meeting is over, he walks over to me. He says, I need to see you in my office now. I said, yes, sir. I go to his office, him, Mr. Hanks, who was the HR director at the time and federal programs director. Mr. Sheehan pulls this letter out of his binder, hands it to me. I look at it and I said, wait. I said, what's going on? I can explain. I said, what is this? I said, this isn't true. His words to me was, give me my keys, get your stuff, and get out of my building and out of my face.
Just like that.
Give me your keys, get out of my building and out of my face and get your stuff. I heard someone crying. I looked behind and my son, because my son is used to always come in there and play in his office when he would come to central office in the evening. I said, get up, Alex, get up. I walked in the hall. I grabbed my purse. I didn't get anything else out that office. I got my purse. I gave him his keys. I walked back to the front. I gave the letter to my mom and Mr. Smith. Neither, I don't know. My mom was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I called my dad and I left.
Now let's talk about the letter, because there's something very interesting here. This part that's highlighted, he says that evidence has been presented to me that signatures on time and effort sheets and actual time spent working pertaining to the 21st century program at JF Shields for your time and effort were falsified.
Yes, ma'am.
That's forgery.
That's forgery.
That's serious.
Technically, they were saying that I forged, he and Sophia Yarber said that I forged their name on my time sheets. And those are the sheets that you sign to verify the hours that you work.
We're going to get to that because that's going to be very interesting, guys. Now, what is this he's talking about, Dr. Killingsworth? Because there's a lot of conversation here about that. Explain to everybody where Dr. Killingsworth comes in and why did he have contention with you about that?
Dr. Killingsworth was the federal programs director. She is the federal programs director at the state of Alabama for the state school system. Please be mindful that within the 3 years that we had this grant, I never met or spoke with Dr. Killingsworth. Never seen her. She never came down and monitored our grant. Our grant was monitored by a different individual in the office in Montgomery. So because this letter came to her office, all of a sudden, I think they started having conversations, the anonymous letter. I get a letter from Mr. Sheehan on October 17th prior to this letter saying that Dr. Killingsworth says you can't shut the program down. Who told you you had that authority? From the State Department. And I can give you that letter for the next time. I have it here. In turn, I sent him back. Matter of fact, I don't know if you can see me. Here's the letter he sent me on October 17th. I sent it back. And then I also attached to him my explanation about, Now, remember, he's asking me about this, and we already spoke on September 28th about the possibility of having to shut the program down for lack of students. So I don't understand why he couldn't have had those conversations with Dr. Killingsworth, because we had already had the conversation, and I practically said, first and foremost, I do not have the authority to close the 21st century program. No, I said, Mr. Sheehan, I am responding in writing as per your letter to the following questions submitted to me by you. Explanation for closing 21st century program at JF Shields. I'm also addressing the statement you made about Dr. Killingsworth saying that I did not need to continue overseeing the homeless and Title IV program. First and foremost, I do not have the authority to close the 21st century program at JF Shields, as I am not the superintendent of Monroe County Schools, nor the site director. Ms. Sophia Yarber has been the site director for the program for the past school term and is currently the site director. I only made a recommendation the program may need to be discontinued based on the external evaluator's report. We are required to have an outside entity to monitor the program peer requirements set by the Alabama State Department of Education. The external evaluator's report indicated there were only 38 students in grades K through 6 being served and 18 staff members. Listen to what I'm saying, 38 students, 18 staff members. I was concerned about the program not following the guidelines of the grant as it pertained to the number of students being served. The grant was written to serve 105 students versus the number of staff members working. However, as stated previously, I can only make a recommendation. There's also a copy of the external evaluator's report. In addition, because in that letter, he asked me, who from the State Department told you that you could do this? I attached a copy of the email from the State Department lady, and this is the copy of the email where you can see it for yourselves, where the lady from the State Department wrote me. And good morning, Dr. Turner. This came from Annette Scoggins. I hope this email finds you well. I'm reaching out to confirm that your 21st century site will be closed and not using this year's fund. This was October the 12th, 2022. If this is so, we need a few things to start with: the letter from the administration, when the grant was applied for. We also need the closing amount of funds that will be returned. We need a copy of the board's minute agenda item to notify them, the data. And next, we will schedule a closeout visit to go over inventory, notification. Now, how did I get this letter from the State Department saying, yes, we need to close the program out because you're not meeting the number of students? Should Mr. Sheehan sending me a letter saying that Dr. Killingsworth says that right here, I was contacted by Dr. Killingsworth. She stated that this was not accurate and shutting down was not that simple. There we go.
Wow.
So there's two different people. There's two different conversations going on with me from the State Department. I'm talking to the individual that I've only dealt with who says, you're right. You can't keep that program open if you're not serving the number of students written in the grant, versus this lady who all of a sudden we got some miscommunication. And please,
that sounds like integrity, Barbarietta, that you're saying, look, I don't want to blow the money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because if we did not follow the external evaluators' recommendations, you would have paid that money back to last year. And then you really would have had a federal not lawsuit, but I really would have been investigated by the feds, the school system. So the other issue is that, and you're gonna see there was consistencies in Dr. Killingsworth's statement at the State Department hearing against me versus her another individual that she said about the monitoring of this program.
So now you got this letter and you leave the office like he suggested.
I did.
And there were some stipulations for you when you had to leave the office on administrative leave. Can you share that with us now? What were those stipulations?
Can you pull that letter back up and then I can read it from there? I have my letter, but if you want to pull it back up so they can see it.
Not this letter. This one?
Yes, here it goes. Okay. Can you go back down some? Because I think it's important that they see the stipulations as to why I'm now talking. It says, during the time of administrative leave with pay, you'll go up. You will not. Can you go up?
All right, go to the next one.
You will not be allowed in or on any Monroe County Board of Education facility or property, with the exception of you acting in your role as the parent of your child, or to attend board meetings. Staying away from board. Now, this is what he says. Staying away from board premises helps eliminate any suggestion that you're interfering with the investigation. The question is, why was there an investigation when the board attorney had already said I'd done nothing wrong?
Very good question.
You are further instructed that you shall not communicate with any Board of Education employee other than the investigator assigned to this matter. Well, who is the investigator? Because no one ever contacted me for 3 years.
So are you telling us then, is it your testimony here today that there was no investigation?
I can't really tell you because I was not allowed on any board. Nobody came to me. I'll put it like this: within the 3 years, no board member, no superintendent, no HR director, no federal programs director, or any investigator other than from the ethics spoke to me. I never spoke to anyone from Monroe County Board of Education. I was not given due process. I was not even allowed to come in and present my case.
Now I want to go back to, because there's some discrepancy here about the first hearing. I want you to clear that up, because people can read online and they can see that there was some kind of discrepancy with the date you showed up. You showed up on the day before the hearing, and the next day when you and your attorney didn't show up, they carried on, and that's when they moved on.
Before we do that hearing came after. So I think before we even go there, we need to talk about how it was already cleared before we even had that hearing with the ethics.
All right. So let's do that. That's next, right here. The ethics.
Mr. Sheehan, the superintendent, sent a letter of complaint against me to the Ethics Commission for the state of Alabama and to the Alabama State Department of Education. But you need to go back first to the letter that was sent against me before you even show this. Is this it? Okay, yes. Here it goes. On November the 8th, the Alabama Ethics Commission. Remember now, he even sent this on November the 8th before he even put me on leave.
Oh,
So what does that tell you?
wow.
Okay. On November 8th, the Alabama Ethics Commission received a written complaint alleging that you may have violated the Alabama ethics laws by using your position as an employee at the Monroe County Board of Education to personally benefit yourself or others. And I do remember that the board attorney said that I did not. And that's the thing. It says no public official, you all can read that, can use his official position to obtain personal gain for himself or herself or family members. Okay?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Within 3 days of receipt of this letter, please call my office and schedule a personal interview. This will be your only. So at that time, I knew it was time to hire an attorney.
That's right. So you hire an attorney. Now, this is the thing. I want to talk about this ethics and how it works. Because when they sent this letter, did they send evidence to them? The same stuff they sent to your board attorneys. What did they send ethics other than this letter?
I'm really not sure. I'm not sure. I think it actually was word of mouth. Well, it was word of mouth because what they didn't understand, there was a new law that had just been put in. And that new law was put in by Vivian Figures. There were situations where people were going before the ethics and they were not allowed to get the documents of what was brought up against them. This was the year that law went into effect. So only information that I have is actually, and they're going to be dropped, are the ethics, the investigator, when he is talking to certain individuals at the Monroe County Board of Education. So I have that evidence. I was given that evidence of the investigator conversation. And there's two investigators. You had Kara Stapleton, and then you had a guy that investigated. So there was two investigators that was on this case. That's how serious it had went.
Wow. So now you showed up. Now I want you to, because when you told me this last night, it was so profound when you said, what did they say to you when you showed up and they said, what's going to happen to you if they find you guilty? If they find that you violated ethics, what did they say what would happen next?
When we finally got a hearing date to go to the Ethics Commission, that first day, there's no one in there. My lawyer, she tell me, I guess it was kind of like a shock factor. And she said she need to be that way because she said, you need to be able to tell your truth. They have to know that everything you're saying is the truth.
Okay.
Who is Anthony Hall? Is this somebody new?
Let's see what he has to say. Anthony Hall says, Ella, please. Okay. Barbarietta, I ain't saying you stole that. You and your mom ain't did nothing but help family and each other. You got what you deserve. You still coming up with those foster kids because you. Okay.
Okay. That's fine. I'm not getting upset about that because I don't know who Anthony Hall is, but Anthony Hall, we will be more than happy to welcome you to the show.
We'd love to invite you to the show. Just say you want to come on and I'll drop the link. Hey, listen, I told you before I got started, everybody is welcome. You don't have to be rude about it, but you're welcome. It didn't take all that. You can just say what you got to say without being disrespectful.
It's okay.
I don't want anyone to disrespect my guests. You can do whatever you want to me. I don't want you to disrespect my guest because she's here telling her story. Oh, no, I got to get this out, boo. I got to get it out. Got to get it out. I don't want you to come here and disrespect my guest. She is telling her truth. Now, if you want to disagree, do it respectfully. That's it. Moving on. Now, let's keep going.
And
so now we've had.
I'm fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm fine with that. I've been used to this, so I'm fine because this is the thing. I came on here. I don't need anybody to run interference for me.
Okay.
So, good deal. Not you. No, I said, so whoever's running interference for these individuals, that's fine. I don't need anybody to run interference for me.
Because here's what happened next, guys. We're going to get their decision. You see, April.
But when let's go back to the ethics.
Okay.
That day when we went in, you can only go in with you and your attorney. It's closed. We went in, there are 4 judges. They're former Supreme Court judges that are sitting up there listening to this. And you don't go in the Ethics Commission empty handed. You just can't. There are documents that they have to get from you, from them throughout the whole time. So in the process, before we even went to court, I was still having to submit, my lawyer was having to submit evidence. When we got there, I was sworn in, and the first thing that came out the presiding judge's mouth was, "You do know that you're under grand federal jury indictment." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You're under grand jury federal indictment." Not from Monroe County, but this hit from the state. That's how big this had got. He said that if you're found guilty, we would turn you over to the Attorney General Office for prosecution. I said, "Yes, sir, I understand." At that point, my lawyer got ready to talk. They told my lawyer, "You're only here for backup. We're going to ask the questions, and she's going to give us the answers and the evidence to support it." That's what I did for the entire day. I was asked questions about every allegation. I gave my answers. I backed it up with the evidence. After that, the investigator then met with some more witnesses. They had to meet separately. And then they said they would render a decision, and that's the decision you're going to see next.
That's it. Okay, here we go. So next, the ethics, this is the case number, and here's their decision. Let's read that out.
Dear Dr. Turner-Pugh, a complaint was filed against you alleging that you violated the provisions of the Alabama ethics law. The complaint has been investigated by the Commission Investigator Lansford. The results of that investigation were presented to the members of the Alabama Ethics Commission at their meeting held April 3rd, 2024. The commission concluded upon review of the evidence from the investigation, that's from both sides, that there was not probable cause to believe that you violate the Alabama ethics law. Accordingly, the complaint has been dismissed.
Now put that in plain terms for everybody that's in the back. What does that really mean?
That means that Barbarietta Turner, contrary to Mr. Anthony Hall, you did not steal any money from Monroe County. You did not forge any signatures, and you are free. The case against you that was alleged against you by Monroe County school system has been dismissed in your favor. I was supposed to return back to work.
So you were supposed to return back to work, but I want to go back now. Let's go back. We got an anonymous letter that says you stole money. We have your superintendent at the time who said that we are dismissing you because you falsified records. You forged stuff. But then all of that same evidence, that he looked at the same thing the Ethics Commission looked at, and they said, we don't see anything here, which equates exactly what the board's attorneys said. So now you get this letter, you're excited, right, Barbarietta? What did you think?
Oh, man. Excited? One, I wasn't even worried about my job at that point. It was more that I knew that I wasn't going to prison, because if I didn't have the evidence to back this up, because that day, I will tell you, when we went in, we had met with them. We had to come back and meet with them. And then they sent the letter in the mail. When we got in, that's when they told us, the guys, and this is what the judge said to me. He said, all charges have been dismissed against you. He said, and I will say one thing, you're an impeccable record keeper. His words was, I don't know why people do what they do or say what they say, but on the behalf of these group of judges, we want to apologize what was done to you and pray that you continue to do what you do for students. And I said, and this is what I said to them. I'll be honest. I was crying. And I said, but what about the people that's been before you that didn't have evidence? They didn't have documents, and the room got quiet. And I thanked each of them for giving me the opportunity to present my evidence. But what I was really grateful for was that I wasn't going to prison on false charges and my children not having me.
That's right. And like you said, this is very key, guys, because this is why this show tonight is so important, because you think you know and you don't. You don't know what people are really going through. What I saw a picture of all of what she's been keeping over these years to prove her innocence. I saw it, and I'm just blown by what you've had to go through. And at this moment, you're thinking, okay, surely I'm going to be embraced back into my job by the Department of by the Monroe County Board of Education. But what happened?
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything.
They got this letter.
The letter was never presented. I mean, let me take that back. I can't say that. If it was presented, I never heard anything. I never heard. The next thing that I heard was that I was being taken before the Alabama State Department of Education. So I guess when you couldn't get me on this, then you take me over to the State Department to try to take my license.
And that's where we are now. Now tell everybody what that means if they decide first of all, who makes the decision whether or not you lose your license?
You go before an administrative judge.
Okay.
But let's talk about, we're going to talk about that in the process. We thought this was over with because technically once that happened, I shouldn't have anything. It should be dropped at the State Department.
Right.
So I guess now you can show the charges now that it was filed that he sent to the State Department because they're the same charges.
Yeah, and that's the part I thought I had that in here. Okay.
Well, it's fine. It's the same charges, like it was forgery of signature and all of that things that was already could be taken from. So at that point, now let's talk about that. And I'm going to be real careful because that case is still pending, so I'm not going to say a lot about it. But I will say this. There it goes.
Here we go.
The specific facts giving rise. So this is what was sent in on me. Once again, these are the same charges that I was cleared up by the ethics. While you're employed by the Monroe County School System as Director of Student Services, you submitted documentation using falsified signatures to reflect the time you spent working. Number B is going to be real important in a minute. The falsified signatures were those of Greg Sheehan, the Monroe County Board of Education Superintendent, and Sophia Yarber, the J.F. Shields High School Principal. The documentation that you submitted to the Monroe County School System included false information about the time that you worked regarding the program. In fact, you rarely visit the campus where the 21st Century program was located. The documents indicated that you falsified information to obtain approximately $28,000 in program money. And as the program director, because you were responsible for the oversight, your conduct, they said, led me to unallowable, I want you to remember that word, unallowed expenses in the amount of $97,307.80.
Those are some pretty hefty.
Those are pretty hefty charges.
Yeah, that's pretty hefty there.
Okay.
So
when you couldn't get me on the anonymous letter, we're going to try something else.
Now, is this after the ethics board has cleared you?
Yes, ma'am.
So they're still trying?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Without even any evidence of any of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, should we show them the conversation that Sheehan had in court about the falsified? Are we ready for that yet?
That's fine because that case just took precedent. We just went to case. And we just had this case. This just came up in March. And he was subpoenaed by my attorney. He says, let me check real. I can't, that live 58 is over. I can't read it.
Oh, yeah. I want to ask one thing in regard to, or maybe this is just a statement. I think I mentioned this to, I would like to mention to you, Judge. Also, the department's initial notice to Turner-Pugh mentions an allegation about, and then Mr. Sheehan says his signature potentially being forged. Well, we're not making that claim at this time. Explain that.
He says, I think Mr. Sheehan has informed me that he is not certain whether that could have happened, and we are no longer asserting that particular claim. My lawyer says, Judge, if they're withdrawing their claim that she forged Mr. Sheehan's signature, no objection to it. The court said, I wouldn't expect you would. The lawyer for the State Department says Mr. Sheehan is at an accurate description of their conversation. Mr. Sheehan says, yes. He said about your signature, he said it is. To be honest with you, With every investigator that have come through and spoke with me, I've made it very clear. You signed so many papers, I could not sit there and claim that I did or did not, that that was not my signature. There's no possible way for me to remember that exactly. Mm.
Wow. Now explain that to everybody. What did
And
we
that,
just
and
read?
since everybody wants to keep going back saying this was 2022, no, sweet, no, people. We just went to court for this in March of 4th of 2026. We just went to court for this.
So, what in a nutshell, what this means, guys, is
What he
that
is
he
saying
refused.
that what he's saying is that she didn't forge my name.
Now, I want y'all to go back to the anonymous letter, the administrative leave letter, the ethics commission letter. It's very consistent. Forgery. But now when the ethics comes out and says we don't see anything wrong, which means they didn't see forgery, now before I perjure myself, let me just clear this up. Now, Barbarietta, do you think that that information made its way back to the ethics board? That, hey, look, I gave you guys some false information because I know I said that she forged, but I'm now I don't have amnesia anymore. Now I remember that she really didn't. I want you to consider that. Even though they cleared you, but he needs to clear his records. Do you agree?
I can't say if it's made it back to the ethics because the ethics case was back in 2024 when I was cleared.
So
And
how did
this
you
just
feel
came
about
out.
that?
This just came out. How did I feel that day?
When you found out that he finally admitted, I lied. I basically lied about that part. She did forge my signature. How
I
did that
actually,
feel? Did that
it didn't take a relief because I know that I didn't do it.
right, right.
But at that point, I really thought that at that point they were going to say this is over with
At
because
this point, you're still thinking and being hopeful. You really want to go back to work, right?
I want to go back to a school system that appreciates the work that I do.
Do
All I
you
want to do
think
is go back to working with kids.
so? If Mr. Hanks, who's now the superintendent, if he were to come to you today and say, look, Barbara, I understand that things got a little out of hand. We want to try to work together with you. Would you go back?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't feel safe. No, ma'am. As much as I love these kids in Monroe County, I don't feel safe to go back.
Hmm. Have you had a conversation with Marty Hanks since he's been the superintendent?
No, ma'am. What I got from them was when the termination was appealed in my favor. I got a note posted to my door telling me I was back on administrative leave the same day.
So at this point, they're still trying to get you out of there, even though there's no proof. Why do you think that is? Who can we say who do you feel is behind this? Do you want to not say who you feel is behind this?
Well, all we got to say is who put me on leave.
Who put you on leave?
Superintendent and the board.
They agreed. They all unanimously agreed to put you back on leave.
Yes, ma'am.
But your mom
Well, my
recused
mom,
herself.
my mom cannot say anything. She
That's right.
cannot have any conversations. And let's be clear, they don't have any conversations with her.
So your sister here, thank you, Lenari. She says, so to be clear, the ethics cleared you of all charges. I think that's very important because I don't think a lot of people may or may not have known that, but you were cleared of all charges, but you got these sad clown people still trying to say you stole money. Are they still saying that are they still trying to say that you stole money?
I guess according to that gentleman that was in the chat, they are.
Oh, wow. Because in my mind, I'm thinking that if you stole money, I would want to recover that money.
Well, let's talk
So,
about that.
yeah.
When I left the board and was put on leave, I left $10.5 million worth of grant money on the table. Let's see if anybody can account for where that money went, because I wasn't there.
Ah. But
Yeah.
don't you have to put the funds, whatever grant you wrote it for, it has to go toward those,
I
right?
wasn't there, but I do know in depositions that was brought up, and some individuals couldn't account for it, or either they just didn't want to account for it.
So this is what we're going to do right now. I want to play the first clip that you dropped this week so that you can explain to everybody what it's all about. Y'all
Yes,
ready?
ma'am.
And why today? Because I ain't told the board this. I've been going back and forth on, you know, trying to say that I told Valerie whether or not I'm going to actually go through with it, make sure she's right. I'll say this sounds like I could care less if I lose Howard. You understand what I'm trying to say? I don't want to lose White because I think White's going to be a good administrator. You understand what I'm trying to say? And I don't want him to up and jump ship on us and go back to Clark County. Still, I may just take that chance and go with it anyway. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I don't think he would do it.
I hope not.
I don't think he would do it. I think he'd be okay because
I wouldn't say nothing to me about Commissioner Chatandra because she called me in the fall and wrote this damn 2-page letter talking about how she was being targeted because she was dealing with discipline at County High.
Now, give us the set it up for us and tell us what that clip was all about.
In the midst of the time, there had been some grumblings about the individual that was the principal at that school at that time, and that wasn't Miss Howard. She was the assistant principal. So there were talks about moving that gentleman to central office.
Okay.
Or to some other position. So they were looking at whether at that moment to move Miss Howard to Monroe Middle School or to keep her there. So in the midst of that conversation, those were conversations that were held between the two of us about the principal situation. And he did not want to lose Mr. White for him to go back to Clark County. So his whole thing was, I could care less if Miss Howard is here or not. I don't care about losing her because she keeps writing me these letters talking about grumbling about people coming at her or him or whoever pertaining to how she disciplines students. Now, and at that time is where I stepped up and said, well, we cannot, we have to be careful. I said, you got to be careful. I said, this young lady has been there. She's worked, she's earned it. She's done a great job at Monroe County High with the students. She was a teacher when I was there. She worked wonderful with the students when I was there. I said, give her an opportunity and just see what she can do. I think she can do wonderful things.
Right.
And I was hit for that. I was,
What do you mean?
Well, in other words, I wasn't asking you for your opinion. I was telling you what steps I was going to make. And I said, sure. Yes, sir. I'm fine with that. And that's fine. Because at the end of the day, and if anyone notices, Miss Howard was moved after I was put on leave.
So what was his issue with her?
I don't know. I really can't tell you what it was. It was, I don't know. That I can't tell you what.
I mean, because she was being effective. She helped bring the score up because Monroe was failing. Mm-hmm. The high school was failing, and she came in and made a difference. I had the privilege.
But she
of
wasn't
her.
She wasn't the principal at that time. She was the assistant at that time.
She was the assistant. Mm-hmm. But she was still. But then after the principal left, she became the interim. Correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while she was the interim, she was making a difference. Yes.
She was an interim, and that's when that conversation was up about that, because by that time that individual had came to central office with us, and that's when they were talking about moving her to the middle school, and there was some back and forth about it.
Unbelievable. I mean, I wonder how people feel. I want to ask you guys, those of you that are watching this podcast, how would you feel knowing that here you are serving in your purpose, and then you find out that the leader of the organization is the one doing all the talking? Like, how did that make you feel for Miss Howard to hear him speak about her that way?
I had an issue when he spoke about anyone about that way, because once again, like I told you, our job was to serve the students. We're here. We don't have a job if we don't have individuals in the classroom, if we don't have the parents.
That's right.
But I also knew that I needed to record these conversations.
Let's talk about that. How in the world were you able to get? How did you make this happen? Because I'm sure
Because
nobody knew that you had these recordings.
let's
So
go
how did
back.
you do
Let's go back before that. Couple of years, I was in my office one night working. I had been at my office the day before in a school system. I came back in, and I think people were so used to me seeing me make copies on the copy machine, no one knew that I actually used to copy in my office. I noticed when I tried to print something out, it says copy, the printer's not hooked up. They had a board meeting that night. I never forget. They were at J.U. Blacksher. I kept saying my printer. So when I went to see why my printer was unplugged, there was a cord attached to it. I took a picture. I text Mr. Sheehan and said, somebody's plugged a device to my computer. He said, what? And so he texted me back and said, hold it, I'll come. So he came actually that night from the board meeting to get it. I asked someone, I took a picture and I asked someone that I knew that knew about computers, and they said, oh my God, they said, let me come. And they did. They came and cleaned and did a swipe of my whole system. They said, because this device either can put something on your computer to kind of, or they can wipe your system trying to get, he said, somebody's trying to get things off your computer or either put something on your computer to frame you.
Ooh.
So at that point, I decided, what's going on here? Still didn't know anything, but just to protect myself, I went and had cameras installed in my office. Not only for that, but I also had cameras because one, what I've been accused of, I dealt with so much. Also, because of Director of Student Services, I dealt with parents and students. I didn't want nobody to ever say I said something that I didn't say. I want to always be
That's right.
transparent.
Right.
So I even had a camera. People don't even know. I had a camera watching me in my office. There was
That's
a camera in
good.
my office watching
I think
me.
it protects everyone
Well,
when
it
you have
protected
that.
me with the forgery with Miss Yarber, and that's another conversation. Uh, and but this wasn't the first time, and I'll go into that later because I'm trying to locate those tapes. This wasn't the first time that this superintendent had come for me, and I thought we were good by that it had been cleared up and everything. So I figured that it was probably best for me so nobody could come back and say something I didn't say in these meetings, especially when you're having conversations about staff members, parents, and children. If you felt comfortable enough to say that to me, you will feel comfortable enough to say that I said something that I didn't say. So at that
Right.
point, I felt like I needed to record those conversations. If I'm wrong, then I was wrong. But it's always about protecting myself.
Well, I mean, I think that you made a good point earlier when you said that if you didn't have all of this, you'd probably be in prison right now, right?
Oh, they told me I would. That wasn't, it's not what I'm saying. That's what the judge said. I was
Yeah.
going, I was going over to the attorney. I wasn't coming back here. I was going to the attorney general for the state of Alabama to be prosecuted.
Yeah. I read that's exactly where you go. You go to the AG or the DA.
Yeah.
If you once you leave there, they're like, look, we can't do nothing for you. You got to go,
Yeah.
because if you fail in ethics, if your ethics are below standard, then it's true. You have no business being this representative here. But I just wish the ethics would get involved a little bit more. I'm just saying, in all elected officials in Monroe, I said it. All right. So Miss Doris says here, unprofessional racism is still alive and working in Monroe. Do you agree with that statement, Barbara?
Um, I don't want to say that about everybody.
Because it's not everybody. Can you clear up about paying me? Yes. Let's do this. Now, I will say this, guys, that once I announced that I was having this show, I've been receiving emails and messages, and you can probably imagine people that are for Dr. Turner, people that are against. And because my platform is transparent, I like to be able to address some of it. And one of the concerns that came to me is that you, Dr. Turner, show favoritism with your family. Matter of fact, we're going to read that exact email.
And
I want to read that.
let's read who it come from, because I feel like if you're going to make an accusation against me, you need to be told who it is.
All right. Well, let's do that. Let's find it. Dang it. Where is it? Ooh. Hold on, guys. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. But I agree with you. I think that let's put it all out there. Oh my goodness. Can you believe I can't? Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm in the wrong. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's keep talking about something else. Um, no, I really need to find this letter. Where is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. The letter came to me and it came from Tiffany um, Lowry. Don't know who she is, but she sent me and I told her that I would definitely address this on the show
Can I
because, like
say
I said,
something?
sure, sure.
Uh, Seems like whoever this Tiffany Lowry is, if that's her real name, seems like she's a teacher from out of Mobile. So let's go ahead. We're gonna put it out there. Let's put it out there. I don't know a
Let's put it.
Tiffany Lowry. I don't know her connections to Monroe County. I don't know her.
All right, let's go. She says, "Good morning. I'm just curious as to why this is being brought up now. Those videos are 8 years old. The superintendent has retired, and there are many facts that seem to be left out of the conversation." She says, "Did she tell you about paying her daughter's boyfriend $10,000 for a 5-minute speech or paying her sister $8,000 a month as a contract nurse during the summer? Did she tell you that before she became upset with teachers, she removed printers from a school program that served children? Did she tell you about the complaints regarding her attitude and how she was removed from working directly with students and teaching? I hope you have all the facts before taking a position. The financial records are public and can be reviewed to see how much money was paid to her and members of her family. If she was truly concerned about teachers, parents, and students, why wait 8 years to share these recordings? It seems more likely that this is being brought up now because she was terminated. Also, much of what she is posting has nothing to do with her situation. So I'm not sure how sharing it is helping her case. Just make sure all sides of the story are considered before drawing conclusions."
And I will, at this point, if Tiffany Lowry is on, I invite you to click on the link. We would love for you to come on the show. Once again, I'm going to say this. I'm not asking anybody to run interference on my behalf. I'm here. I'm here. I'm in person. This has been my battle for the last 4 years. So we invite anyone that I'm having any conversations about to please come on the show and tell your truth as well.
Okay. So let's bring this up. This is what we wanted to bring up. So we're here, Lenari. Let's start with this one. Tell everybody what we're looking at here.
We're looking at the contract. Let's talk about what happened first, how we got to this point. During COVID, there was money given down that was called the CARES Act. You had the CARES Act, you had the GEARS Act. There were different pots of money that was come down during COVID for school systems to hire nurses and to bring in all different things to help with the COVID epidemic. During this time, Mindy Mitson, who's the nurse supervisor, you're going to see two contracts. You're going to see Lenari Turner, you're going to see Alicia Salter. Mindy Mitson was going around seeing if there was anybody that was a nurse. Everybody turned. So these individuals met with Mindy Mitson and Greg Sheehan. They did not meet with me. I did. I told my sister they were looking for a nurse position. She, along with several others, met with them. They didn't meet with me. After their meeting, and as you got to realize, this individual said, I hired. I don't hire. I don't fire. Any individual. So let me break down how this works. And I will tell anybody, especially you, Tiffany Lowry, why don't you go to the board meeting and then you can see how this works. The superintendent make the supervisors, principals, they give their recommendations to the superintendent. Once he agrees to those recommendations, he gives those recommendations to the board and the board hires. Your school board members do the hiring. So all of this information went before the nurse supervisor, Mr. Sheehan. And if you see, do you see my signature on that contract? Ella?
No, I don't see your name anywhere here. I think you cleared it up. Let's for the people watching. Is it against company policy for family members to work at the Board of Education or the school system in any way, in any capacity? Is it against the law, the rules, the policies to do that?
To do what now? I'm sorry. I was reading that what somebody wrote. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Is it against the policy for family members to work together at the school board or within the school system? Is it against the policy?
Obviously, it's not, because the current superintendent was his wife boss when he was the principal at Excel. And there's another individual in the system that oversees a family member. And there's several others. So no, ma'am, there's not a policy.
Now, is your sister qualified for this job?
My sister is a nurse practitioner.
Okay. So that kills that. I don't know what else we can do with that.
And let's talk about the school that they sent her to. Lower Peachtree had never had a nurse. Every school in Monroe County had a nurse, and no one wanted to go over there. She went to Lower Peachtree. She served those students at Lower Peachtree. Their principal was having to give the students their diabetic shots, to give all care over there, but that's not in the line of duty for a principal.
Okay. Celeste says, definitely does not show favoritism. I can speak of a few that I know do, but I'll stay silent on that one.
Someone said that I show favoritism, and she's saying I don't. Thank you, Celeste.
Okay. Thank you, Celeste. So in other words, then you're telling me, Barbarietta, that there are a lot of family members that work within this system.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So then I don't understand then, why is it a big deal that you have family? Because I mean, you guys are educators.
Well, let's go back. This young lady said that I hired my sister. Now you're only showing one contract. She worked for 3 years. So that means the board hired her 1 year, 2 year, 3rd year. If that was a problem, why did they hire? And why am I being the one that said that I did it? Where is this coming from? Where is this young lady getting her information from?
Then let's move on to the next accusation. She said that your daughter's boyfriend was making $10,000 for a 5-minute speech.
All right, let's talk about that. In 2017, I believe, we did what's called College to Career, where you bring all these different colleges down to come in for our seniors, juniors and seniors. The first time this individual ever came to Monroe County, he came from Miles College. Miles College sent him down. And at that time, I didn't know him, and my daughter didn't know him. So this individual had been down. When we started getting mental health grants, I was writing mental health grants up to $300,000 and $400,000 for our district. That's how we got the mental health social workers and all the team. We didn't even have peer mentors in our system. We were able to use that money for peer mentors for our students. So one of the parameters of that is you have people to come in and talk to the students. I sent out a blanket text to different colleges, and this young man was sent down. So when we talk about this, let's look at anybody that I can't speak for other directors, so I will not speak. But in my department, anyone that I bring in or anything that we do, I always run it through the superintendent. And because it's federal programs money, I have to run it through the federal programs director, who is now the current superintendent. I always run that dot. So they don't even get to see me. The superintendent vets them, talks with them, looks over the contract. If he decides to go into a contract with them, he does. He takes it to the board, and the board approve it. So if you bring the contract back up, you will see 2 discrepancies in this young lady's statement. Can you bring that back up, please? Because I'm seeing just myself.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay. The contract was only for how much, Ella? I'll let you tell it.
$4,500.
Not $10,000. Who signed that contract?
Sheehan.
Okay, that's not in the contract. That's the requisition that has to go to him. Can you bring the contract up?
No, I just have this right here, right now.
No, you have the contract.
Let's see. I have to pull it from another page. Hold on a second. Let's get it.
Yeah, everything needs to come out, because I don't want anybody to think that I did anything illegal and taking money. Right. I don't take money from students in the school systems. I give to students. I don't take.
Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it?
It should have been with that. It should have been with that
Yeah.
document.
I
It's got to come up because it's going to show who signed that contract and approved it.
I'll have to get it later.
That needs to come up because in his contract, it needs to show because that contract, I really would like that contract up tonight because she made an accusation against me and I have the right to defend myself. She said he spoke for 5 minutes. His contract shows his schedule.
Sure did. I'll find it. I'll get it. Oh my gosh. When I saved it,
Do I need to resend it to you?
Yeah, send it to me. Do it. Send it to me right here in the chat on the show.
I don't
the
know
show
how to
private chat.
I don't know how to do that. I don't.
That's okay. Yeah, just send it to Ella Johnson Show real quick, and we'll pull it up. We'll pull it up right now, guys, because I definitely want to make sure because I only saved a portion of it. I didn't save all of it. That's what happened.
But I want to bring while we're talking about that, hold on. You said because wait a minute. Go ahead. You can so if everybody just hold on for just a second.
Y'all just hold on. Just sit tight right there. Go and find it.
Okay, I'm gonna resend it to you. What do you want me to send it to?
Just send it to the Ella Johnson Show real quick.
Mm-hmm. I want to be as transparent I can with the people.
No, I hear you. I don't blame you. This is your reputation and your life we're dealing with. That's what the purpose of the show is to bring it all out.
And I did not want to, I know we're going to go to about why was he there. I was telling, we had several individuals that came. So when you have to come and talk about mental health, I don't agree in bringing in these big companies and these big contract people who the kids are not going to relate to. I always remember that. This young man, and I'm not going to go into his life story because he already told it to the students. However, we were dealing with a lot of mental health issues with our kids in the system. This young man, during his senior year of high school, went to school one day, came home, and found his mom dead from a heart attack. In the same retrospect, within that period of time, he was left by himself, only with his grandmother to raise him. During that time, you think about it as a young man, as a senior, and you find that. So he was dealing with all those emotional issues. He still managed to graduate, but this is where it got deep. He went to college. His grandmother got sick and passed away. This young man was sitting in college, working a full-time job, sleeping on the floor at his apartment with some friends, maintaining a 4.0 GPA, graduated at the top of his class. What better person, and Mr. Sheehan agreed to it when he met with him, what better person to talk to a child about mental health? Here we go. Amen. Here we go, Anthony Hall again.
He's back? Oh, wow. Back. Let's go.
Well, you know what? Okay. Can we do a favor? I don't even want to address him because whoever this is someone that's running interference for them. And that's not what I'm here about. So I'm not going to address that if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're not going to address that. Absolutely. This is one question that I would like to, Kim sent a question here. Let me move this out of the way so we can, let's move that out of the way. Let's take a couple of this question right here. Defamation lawsuits being planned. Because you've definitely, it seems like you have identified some defamation going on here. Do you feel that? Do you feel that that's where you need to go next, or what is your plan, if you can talk about that, for what's next?
I don't know if I can really talk about it. I guess it's my lawyer,
Gotcha.
And it's so ironic. I'm trying to bring Anthony Hall up. Mr. Hall, we would more than welcome you to come to the show. If you feel that concerned about this issue, please come on. We welcome you. You don't have to hide behind a computer and type. you are more than welcome to come to on the show. You don't have to hide behind a keyboard.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna pull this up here. Um, I have it here. So let me share the screen so everybody can see it. Uh, all right, here we go. Ooh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Girl. Almost there. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. This is it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
You're going to see that every document that was done was signed by Mr. Sheehan. That's the purchase order. You have to do a purchase order. And that doesn't even go through my department. That goes through the federal programs bookkeeper. My hands are not even on it.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Where's the second page? Ooh. Okay, here we go. Here we go. There's that. Then here's the second page. That's the purchase order that we had over there.
That's the requisition order. The requisition order comes first. You have to do a requisition for that individual. So the requisition order was done. It's signed off by the CSFO and Mr. Sheehan. Then once he approves it, but before he does that, that's the contract. That gentleman turned his contract into them, not me. It doesn't have anything to do with me.
And this breaks down what his agreement was.
And let's clear this up. It was said that he only spoke for how many minutes, she said?
10 minutes.
The contract says this.
No, 5 minutes.
Yeah. This individual provided training session from 11 to 12, 1 to 3, and 3 to 4. Now, I didn't send you this, and I should have, because it's very important that I think everybody needs to know. That meeting, that was the first training right there. And it was for how many? We said it went where? That was at the central office, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you put the screen? Because Mr. Sheehan was so impressed by this individual when he spoke at the central office that he asked him to come back, not to every school in the district, but can you pull it up so I can show you? He sent him back to what school is that, Elle? I just want to make sure if you can read it so everybody else can read it.
Oops. Wait a minute. Let's go back. Remove that. Let's bring you and me back. I'm sorry. Okay.
What school did he go back to?
Is that Monroe County?
This is Monroe County Board of Education. If you can read the whole thing.
All right, let's see here. Move it back some. Department of Student Services, Keyshawn Roach.
What school did he go to?
J.U. Blackshear.
Thank you. For peer mentor training. He was impressed because he was in that training with him on June, that he called him to come back, and he sent him to JUB to speak with their students at JUB. Now, Tiffany Lowry, how would you know that information? Tiffany Lowry, whoever's having you to run interference need to tell you the truth. It wasn't 45, it wasn't 10,000, honey. The board paid him out of a grant that wasn't board money. It was a grant, $4,500.
And Lenara says, and as a matter of fact, I actually shorted myself because nurses during COVID was making more money than my contract was. But during that time, no nurse was willing to drive the Lower Peachtree. And thank you so much for your work, Lenari, being there and doing good work. It's so good to see people living and walking in their purpose and not giving a dang what nobody thinks. I love it. Doris, because she said that I will have to talk to Minnie myself if I wanted that job. So I want to make sure I bring up the comments. The only time it is she came
Can you
up.
bring? I need you to bring those contracts. You only brought one contract. I need you to bring up the contract to show who signed Laneri Turner's contracts. They need to know that I did not sign those contracts.
Gotcha.
I need you to bring up where the nursing supervisor signed those contracts.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I got it right here. All right.
We're gonna be transparent.
That's right. All right. Let me go so I can share the screen with everybody. That's what it's all about tonight, guys. We want y'all to see it. We don't want to talk about it. Let me hear. I'm gonna have to stop sharing.
And to
this.
be honest, guys, I'm on longer than I promised. I was only gonna do 30 minutes tonight.
You definitely are on longer than you said, because you said 30, 45 minutes, and I told you that's not gonna be enough time. But I wanted to respect your time, your space.
Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Please take that comment from Miss Benita Bonner off. I don't want anybody talking about another individual on this show. I'm not for that. I'm not here for that. Please.
Where is it?
It just came up. I'm not for that. I'm not.
Okay. Let's see here.
I don't know if you can take. I'd rather if you can take those comments off. I'm not. That's not what this show is about.
Yeah, I will.
Please take that off.
Show it. Yeah, I'll have to take it later. Because it's not letting me do that right now. Okay. But I hear what you understand, because I said that before we started this broadcast, guys. Let's keep everything respectful. We don't have to put other people down, really. We're just trying to talk about with you guys the facts. We're bringing you what we have.
I don't mind anybody coming for me. I just don't want them coming for someone else. I'm okay with taking these hits. I've taken them for the last 4 years plus. I'm okay with this.
Okay, let's bring up this contract now. Let's try to get it here. Where is it? Add to the stage. Who is this? Ooh, girl. It's a lot of information, guys, but I want to make sure that we have everything. This is not what I want. You want to see the
I want the one to show
all of the stuff for Lanari.
It's just that contract to show the 3 signatures, so they can know exactly.
Okay, I got it right here. So let's bring it to the screen so we can see it. Where is it? Oh my goodness. All right. Let's go share the screen. I'm sorry, guys. I got so many things open down here. It's crazy.
Now, while we're doing that, there will be a second show, and that show is going to address the teachers who made false allegations against me to the State Department.
Yeah, there's so much more to come from this story. We're not doing everything tonight. Like I told you guys earlier, there's no way we can do it all in one night because it's so much information.
And while Ms. Johnson is looking for that contract, I want to clear up something Tiffany Lowry said. Ms. Lowry, I need you to go and please, whoever's giving you false information, I want you to also understand what my role was. Director of Student Services. Listen to what I'm saying, sweetheart. Director of Student Services, not Director of Teachers. There was never a time that I was told to not have any conversations other than when I was put on administrative leave. So whoever gave you your information, they kind of mixed their facts up and their lies. The way the chain of command go, principals deal with their teachers, superintendent deals with the principals, and the superintendent deals with the director. I was a director. I never, ever could step out of my lane and discipline a teacher. Please remember that. I don't hire teachers. I don't fire teachers. And there has never been a conversation where Mr. Sheehan, so let me clear that up. I don't want anybody thinking that Mr. Sheehan or any superintendent has ever told me not to have any conversations or that I was disrespectful to a teacher. Let's clear that up real quick. My role was to watch out for students.
That's right.
So I once again invite you to come on the show because I have a feeling somebody's going to try to give you some more. And so next time, don't hide behind the keyboard. Let's come on the show and talk about it.
Totally agree. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at these contracts here. This is Lenari.
Let's go up. Okay. We can go up to the signature page.
Okay.
That's one. It should be another one.
Okay, let's keep going. There's another one.
Oh, there we go. There is the nurse supervisor. That's who that is who supervised the nurses, not Barbarietta Turner. Look at that signature real well, everyone. That wasn't me.
Your name is nowhere here.
No, ma'am. And that's now we're on contract number 3.
Contract number 3. And there's signatures again.
So there seemed to not have, now let's talk about it, because see, this person didn't bring up the mental health counselors. There seemed to have been a problem with any and everybody that was connected to me when they started coming for me. You had Lenari as a nurse for 3 years. So if there was an issue with her contract, I think that should have been with the superintendent and the board. Because you had her the first year, you had her the second year, you had her the third year. And not just Lenari. There was another young lady that was hired who was already working in the system and got the same amount of money.
I'm still trying to figure out why there's a big deal with people, with your family members. You're all qualified, you're educators, you're educated, and you have you meet the qualifications for the job.
Because
it's not against the rules to have family members.
You're going to hear a tape that comes up that I'm going to drop really soon that was made. And this is not a Barbarietta tape. This is coming strictly from the Ethics Commission when they spoke to different individuals here in the school system. And that's going to explain it all. Because this individual who had absolutely no legal or ethics rights, you're going to see where this all come from. Because according to this individual, they got a problem with my mom and her political standings, being the Democratic chair. So I'm not sure if this was personal or political against me.
Wow. I want to take some of the comments because I love to encourage. Now, Benita, she did come and say, look, she didn't mean for that comment to come up. So thank you for clarifying that, Benita. Thank you. Because we want you to be a part of the conversation. She was saying, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to come up.
It's getting a little late because I had even said, I think we went over my time limit. I wasn't going to do 30 to 45 minutes tonight.
Listen, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We can wrap it up. We're good. It's that time anyway.
I just want to can we do a recap? Because everybody wants to know why it got to this point. Let's be honest, guys.
Okay.
Everybody's saying, why did I just now speak? Oh, you're just now speaking because... And I think that's something you said we were going to talk about. We'll talk about how this termination came apart, about the legal termination, because you have that information where they held a meeting that they shouldn't have held. Or they changed the date on me. We'll talk about that the next time. Since everybody is so riled up about, oh, she's terminated, now she's coming out. Well, the thing is, you saw the letter that was given to me by the former superintendent. I was not allowed to speak. I was not allowed. So what you were doing, you were keeping me quiet while you were building a narrative against me. And that just came out what that young lady said. I was accused of being a thief, a liar, a forger. Those were 3 things I was accused of: stealing money, using money that wasn't, lying about the time and things that I worked, and also forging signatures. I was cleared by the ethics on that.
Yes.
You saw the evidence tonight from the hearing that we just had in March. This March, it wasn't March 2022. It wasn't March 2023, 24, 25, March 2026, where Mr. Greg Sheehan himself said I want that statement taken out of the claims. I did sign, and I can't say. And you're going to hear a tape I'm going to drop where he tells the ethics investigators the same thing. I never forged signatures on timesheets. I never forged signatures on any documents. You saw that in writing. That didn't come from me. That came strictly from the court, from Greg Sheehan Mouth himself, saying, I take that claim back. So you're free to think about me any kind of way you want to, but I'm telling you now, I am innocent. I am innocent of these charges. I am innocent of these charges. And the Ethics Commission cleared me of everything that they said that I did. The lawyer for the board cleared me in the beginning.
That's right.
But let's be clear, he's not clear himself, because once this got started, he did some illegal stuff, and we're going for him for that. But as of right now, I won't. But right now, let's just say this. Why did I sign my sister's name? And that's why, is this guy really, is he smart? Why did you sign your sister's name? That's why you have a forgery charge. Ella, can he read? Can this gentleman read? Because I think we just read with the charges that Greg Sheehan sent in, didn't we?
We did.
Okay.
Listen, we're gonna wrap up. I mean, Anthony, I really wish you could come with some more productive conversation, because I want you to be a part of it, because we want to have a show. We don't want to always have people that just agree, but we want you to be respectful and come say things that make sense, right?
Look, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Ella. I'm gonna be honest and put it out here tonight. I'm not going to be on the show with Anthony. I'm not going to be on the show with somebody that's making up false narratives, because now when I've just showed evidence to show that I did not, when Mr. Sheehan admitted that I did not forge his name, now this gentleman is coming saying I forged my sister's name.
Yeah.
So
we'll make sure he's not able to be here anymore.
I can tell you right now, I will not. I'm not going to do a show with anybody that can't look at the documents and see for themselves that they were.
We're going to wrap it up tonight. Did you want to watch that last video, or you want to maybe just talk about it? You want to watch that last one, the last audio?
No, they heard it.
They heard it. Okay.
And I do, and we can talk about it just for a second. That video purpose was to show you all what he thought about our parents and our students in this system. Because anybody knows that what you speak in a meeting, a closed meeting with a parent, I can tell that video because I wasn't in those meetings with those parents. If I was in those meetings with those parents, I would have never, I got videos with parents and things, and I won't show those to you because that's confidentiality. However, when he talked to me about them, he had absolutely no right to have those conversations, because those were closed behind doors conversations, and not me. Remember, that's just not me. That is a whole staff of individuals that he had that conversation with about those parents. And if that's how you feel about our parents in Monroe County and our teachers, there's a problem.
I want to point out something very important, though, Barbarietta, in that video that you guys did see, that second drop. He said, okay, bring me an anonymous letter, and then I can do something about it.
In that audio, Mr. Sheehan says the gentleman that came into his office that he said was reeking of marijuana. If you remember, and go back if you don't, hear the video, the gentleman says, well, I smoke with 4 of your teachers. He said, tell me their name. The gentleman says, I won't do that at this time. And I want you to remember this clear word. He said, then send me an anonymous letter and I will fire them. So that seems like an MO, because an anonymous letter was sent on me and I was fired.
And on that note,
I was cleared by the board attorney and the ethics on that.
I have a question about the BOE. Okay, bring your question, dear, before we get out of here. Because for those of you that just kind of came late, I want to wrap the show up and tell you what we covered tonight. Now, tonight, we wanted to make sure you got the basics. Tonight, we started off by letting you see the anonymous letter. You saw that. You got to see that anonymous letter from J.F. Shields that came from Jackson was sent to all of these board members, talking about all this stuff that Dr. Turner supposedly had done. Okay. From that's where the administrative leave letter came. Then the ethics, she was cleared of all charges at the ethics commission. That's very clear, guys. Cleared, meaning she showed the same evidence that they did. She showed more, obviously, and she was cleared of it. But that wasn't enough for the Board of Education. They still wanted her gone. Now, granted, they can, based on what I read in Alabama law, they can still let you go even if you're cleared by ethics, but there has to be a cause. There has to be a just cause, you know? And I don't see how you can get cleared for one and not be cleared to the other one, but I'm still trying to figure that one out. Nonetheless, they were still after her. And so that's what led up to where we are now. They did terminate Dr. Turner, and that's where we are. And she is bringing evidence to the Ella Johnson show. That's why it is Monroe County Uncovered, because we are bringing it out. That's what tonight was to bring a lot of evidence to you so you guys can make your own decision. And I like what this is the wrap up for the show right here.
You have 3 questions.
Yeah, we got a few. Let me go back here.
Deidre Hill asked a question.
Let's get hers first. If someone is asking about transferring schools, are they allowed to ask a parent what color is a child? That's what happened to Ms. Deidre.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. You hear that, Deidre? Loud and clear. All right. Doris says, so will you still teach in Monroe County?
No, ma'am.
No. She doesn't feel safe anymore. I felt that very offensive. Also, when I had a concern, they never wanted to listen, ever.
Miss Doris, I would love to, but when you've gone through what I've gone through, I don't know if I do one thing, if I do something, I'll be walking on needles, pins and needles. I don't feel safe. And I should never be at the point where I don't feel safe at my own home.
Amen. Well, I want you to have last word, Doctor, because we're getting ready to get out of here with a great show. We'll be back next week, guys, with more drops.
Yeah, there'll be more drops. They're good drops. I just want to thank everybody for signing on tonight. Whether you believe that I did this or not, my goal was just for everybody to hear my side of the story, because I wasn't able, and I want you to see why I was just now coming up, why I wasn't able to tell it, because I was put on a gag order. I couldn't even, and it hurt. I couldn't even go to my son's school other than to drop him off. I wasn't able to go to any of his events. My niece that graduated from JUB, I wasn't even able to go to her graduation, because if I did, I would have been, of course, arrested, because I would have been violating. So I thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. I just want to show, I'm being honest. And I guess a lot of people said, why do you even care? I just want to show the people I did not take money from their kids. I did not take money for these students, and I would never do that.
I appreciate it. And we're going to end with this comment from Ms. Deborah Stallworth. She says, you have clearly cleared yourself. That's what it was all about, was making sure that you guys had all the information. I'm not telling you what to believe, what to think, or whatever. We proved it. We showed you these are the documents, and they don't see this in the Monroe Journal. I told you guys, you're not going to hear this story anywhere like you will hear it on the Ella Johnson Show. All right, dear. Love you. I'm so glad that you were able to be here tonight for the first show. I'm glad you guys tuned in, and we're going to get out of here.
But I do want you all now, listen.
It's a great show.
There's going to be some
Thank
drops.
you for sharing your side.
Can you hear me?
Disrespect is very unnecessary. Yes, go ahead.
Y'all stay tuned. There are going to be some exciting drops next week.
Can't wait. Well, we'll be back here this same time next week, guys, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central, right here on the Ella Johnson Show. And we appreciate all the compliments and all the comments. You know, we try to bring them all up, guys, but there's so many, they're so fast, and, you know, we're just trying to do the best we can here. Well, anyway, you guys have a great evening. Anything else you'd like to say, Dr. Pugh, before we go?
No, no, ma'am.
Nothing. All right. Sounds good, guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.